Welcome to Visionaries Global Media, your number one source for podcasting entertainment. Visionaries Global Media, envisioning excellence on a global scale.
Band from Ringside. Tonight on the Band from Ringside podcast, Randy Orton pays the price for defending his boy, Cody Rhodes, as the world turns with Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, and Bo Dallas finally steps foot in a WWE ring since his latest return. Will Ospreay and MJF go Broadway, and your big G1 preview. That and a whole bunch more tonight on the Band from Ringside podcast. Slow week.
You're right.
Ditch that 9 to 5. It's time to feel alive. Hello, Mark. So welcome to the Band for Ringside podcast. As always, I'm your host, Bill Vagey, a.k.a. Demolition Axel Foley. And sitting directly across from me, have you seen the new Beverly Hills Cop?
No, I haven't. I heard
It's really good.
Yeah.
Sitting directly across from me, we have JC Cornelius Bell. What's going on, JCB?
True player for real, as Bill Vagey. And on that lovely note, I'll ask the congregation to bow their heads as I read from the latest edition of the Band from Ringside podcast, volume 368, chapter 3, verse 14 of the Good Smart saith, hashtag boo the heels. It's all good, baby. Listen, share, subscribe, repeat, the Holy Trinity of BFR. Another interesting week of wrestling. One step forward to the G1, one step closer to the SummerSlam. We're going to talk about all of that crazy shit tonight. And Will Ospreay on the MJF too.
Unbelievable. Yeah, so, it's just us tonight, Jason.
It's the two-man team.
As God intended.
I don't know about all that. I was going to say,
Kicking it old school.
Motherfuckers like, what? It's just these two?
2007, standing on the patio of Jack Patrick, screaming at each other at 2 o'clock in the morning, while
good
homeless
old
people
days.
were like, we're not going to ask those motherfuckers for cigarettes.
They are mad at each other.
They're mad about something. No Zach tonight. He had the work thing. No Bo tonight. He had the work thing, too. So
Yeah, I did see Bo. I saw him Wednesday. He's doing the estimate on the move to the new apartment or whatever, and I did take a look at his leg, and it looks pretty bad. It's like a dry spell for 3 beer if he goes for extended period of time. So he needs to put ice on that leg, seriously. So he's got an excuse not to be here. He's got to work early in the morning. 3 beers probably doing whatever 3 beer does. So yeah, it's the 2-man break on this bad boy.
it's a fucking beautiful night out here.
It is beautiful. It's nice.
It's like there's no weather. I mean, it was fucking 103 degrees out here last week. But you know what? Let's get started.
It was this week. This week, 103, and it rained like a motherfucker Tuesday, Wednesday, and now you got this.
Shit down.
Yeah.
Cool the whole shit down. Let's get started, Jason. Let's get to that.
Please,
3 count.
thank you.
1, 2, 3.
Kick it off, good man.
Yeah, look. I always want to do AEW, honestly, because that was really.
There's no rules. It's our podcast.
This is true. Let's start. Let's do AEW first, because obviously, I think one of the biggest stories, at least in ring, was MJF versus Will Ospreay to kick open Dynamite. We'll go back to Rampage and Collision. Pretty much, as far as I'm concerned, it's pretty skipping. Easily skippable. That's the term I'm trying to come up with.
Yeah, both of them were pretty skippable.
But we'll touch on that in a little bit. Let's talk about, the obvious match of the night, probably of the week so far, MJF versus Will Ospreay for the AEW International Championship. Leading off Dynamite, if we know anything from the short time span that Tony Khan has been booking AEW, it's rare when it happens, but when it happens, it's noteworthy. You should pay attention. You probably should settle in. I did not get any spoilers. I knew that it was last night and just made sure, stay off, social media. Unless it was Mary texting me, I didn't even look at anybody's text. I was like, this is the one safe spot. Everybody else might be talking about the shit. So I got home and immediately started watching it, and it could be argued that this was better than Ospreay Danielson. I wouldn't have a problem with anybody saying that. As far as I'm concerned, this Joker did go Broadway. 2 seconds away from 60 minutes does not take away from the fact of what all of that transpired up to this point. Every time I think I've seen the best of MJF, he takes another step forward. Going an hour with Will Ospreay in the ring is nothing but an incredible feat. It's not something that there wasn't a lot of rest holds. There wasn't a lot of, slow.
That's the thing.
Slow tempo. There was, bounce, counter, MJF, even going into the crowd, even with the little girls, hitting MJF, that's comedy. That's your sports entertainment portion of it. But then still, you brought it back into the ring, and then we got back to the wrestling part of it. Ultimately, we did get the fuckery that I was waiting for. MJF slips on the diamond ring, yocks Will Ospreay in the mouth to finish the deal. Just as you see the time running down, I was looking at it, I was like, nah, it was like 5 seconds, and I was like, that's plenty of time. 1, 2, 3. MJF becomes the new international champion. One of the funny parts, at least to me, is post-match when the doctors come in. And I thought this was, for a hot second, I was like, okay, this is cool because it shows the effect of the match, which is perfect. That's what you want to see. They just went an hour. I don't want anybody getting up anytime soon. I don't want nobody celebrating. Y'all went an hour.
I mean, New Japan does it after every match. They really do, though. They have guys come in and start icing the guys down right in the middle of the ring. They do it every single match.
You got the oxygen for MJF, and MJF was still was going to talk shit. He reminded me of Apollo Creed in Rocky 2. No matter what, you might have just put me on my deathbed, but I'm gonna still talk shit to you on the way, to the hospital, on the, to the surgery, the whole 9 yards. It was the Tiger Driver is the tipping point, and we could talk about that if you want to. But I thought this was just so well done. First time that I can think of that these two got in the ring together. Maybe if they've done it before, so be it. If it's a handful of times, I'll go that far. This has so good chemistry. The story was really going along the way you thought it would up until the Tiger Driver point. And once he didn't do it, I just shook my head. I was like, that's the mistake.
Listen, first things first, it's when, and I've probably said it before too, when you think that AEW is just like a different version of WWE, and some people might argue that's not a true alternative, you get something like this, which is something that WWE would never do. They would never put on their main event if not their two biggest stars, two other 3 or 4 biggest stars in an hour-long match on their flagship show to open the show. It's just not something that you see. It's exciting. It's, it makes you raise your eyebrows. You're like, oh, shit, this is fun, It's fun. You're
already excited because the show's going to start. But now, when I saw MJF come out to the ring, I was like, yeah, this shit's happening.
They said on Collision that it was going to open up Dynamite. And then when Joey started texting last night, he's like, this match is incredible. No part of me was like, because it was like 7:45. I was like, no part of me was like, they're 45 minutes into this match. I thought Joey was watching it on a delay or something.
Yeah.
So at 9 o'clock, I avoid all spoilers. At 9 o'clock, my wife, the baby's in bed. My wife's got to do a little bit of work. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to turn it on. And after they hit the 30-minute mark, I was like, oh, this shit's going an hour.
And close to.
Yeah, so I never thought.
I didn't think it was going that close.
I thought it was going to end a couple times between 20 and 30 minutes. I never thought it was going to end between 40 and 50 minutes.
Yeah, I was like, okay, we go.
I was like, they're going to go the whole way.
I was thinking a draw.
I was thinking a draw, too. That's the good. I mean, Will Ospreay is the best wrestler in the world. MJF, I said it on our text thread last night, I have fed myself crow ever since that Bryan Danielson MJF Iron Man match, which I don't know if I voted for my match of the year, but it was certainly in my finalist. I loved that match. And it even went over. It went like 7 minutes over, and that's when MJF won with the oxygen tank, which is the story that they built up the whole time. That match was just brilliant.
Bringing it back in full circle.
It was fucking.
This is good.
It was fucking brilliant. I don't think this match is better than Ospreay Danielson either. Maybe it's because I was there. Maybe it's because Daniel Bryan is just a better wrestler than MJF. I mean, that's not a stretch to say. Daniel Bryan's one of the best wrestlers in the world. MJF is fucking unbelievable. But he's not Daniel Bryan.
No.
So maybe that's why I like this match better, or that match better. This match, the cool thing about it, you mentioned there was no rest holds. They didn't. There was none of that downtime that you see in that you used to watch hour-long matches, with the old heads. This shit was nonstop, and they paid the price because the last 5 or 6 minutes it got sloppy.
Agreed.
Which is fine and completely understandable.
Understandable.
And it doesn't even bother me because in kayfabe, they should be getting tired.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, but you could tell they were spent, man. Ospreay was especially spent. But I bet if he had to do it over again, he said, I probably wouldn't have gone so hard the first 55 minutes and had a little bit left in the tank
at the end.
for the last 5 minutes. But that does not take a quarter star off it for me or any bullshit like that.
No.
I still fucking loved it.
Yes, easily one of the better matches of the year. I'm
and
sure
people will be like, well, just because it's an hour doesn't make it a great match. It's like, yeah, but how many people can make an hour match a great match, though?
Agreed. And that's why
it's not everybody.
No, and that's why, to me, like the rest hold parts of it, or the lack thereof in this case, really stands out because it wasn't like, at least for me, my attention span didn't waver at any point where, I had to keep watching. Otherwise, I might miss something or, whatever.
I was into it.
Yeah, for sure. And that's, to me, was the overriding sentiment for me for this match is that it kept me
came
invested.
at a perfect time. Now, I'm not trying to act like I'm better than anybody out there, but I quit
He
Twitter.
is better than you.
I quit Twitter this week.
Yes, look at you.
So I'm trying to be more in the moment, and I didn't look at my phone during this match. I might have checked it to see if there was a text message or something every once in a while, but I was pretty dialed into this match. Sober, just sitting there on the couch like the old days before you had a fucking smartphone to look at every single stoplight you get to. Better get out my smartphone. I'm sitting at a stoplight. I got a second. I sat there and watched it. And I'm not trying to act like I'm, on a higher plane of existence or like my mind is freer than you guys, but it is because I quit Twitter.
He's unplugged from the Matrix.
But this, like I said, it's noteworthy. Everything that we're saying that's bad about it is just a total nitpick, though. This, for all intents and purposes, this was fucking unreal.
Yeah, I was going to say, I honestly, to me, Dynamite was an overall good show. The bad part to me was at the end, the main event, but that's neither here nor there. We'll get to that. I honestly can't think of anything about the Ospreay MJF match that I was turned off about or I didn't like. To me, it was, I don't want to use the word perfect, but it was damn near perfect.
How many hour-long matches have they had in AEW now? Because I'll tell you what, in that span of time, WWE is at 0. WWE does not have hour-long matches. Even when they have Iron Man matches,
Joey and I were just talking about that today, as a matter of fact.
So, they've had this. They had that FTR versus Bullet Club Gold match. That was about an hour. It's like 58 minutes. I'm counting it. They had Daniel Bryan. They had another match, Daniel Bryan and MJF. Didn't Hangman and Bryan Danielson also go an hour?
I thought so. I thought that, yeah, because I was going to say it's pretty close, if not an hour. That was an opening Dynamite match or whatever.
That
the case
also
may be.
opened Dynamite. Yeah.
So I want to say Moxley might have been in there somewhere too, but I don't know. I might be just giving him too much credit, and that's Tony Khan brainwashing me. Neither here nor there.
They've all had Daniel Bryan or MJF, or except for the tag match. Never mind.
You're making. I get your point. Ultimately,
it's happened a few times.
Yeah, let's just say a handful of times in 5 years, and WWE doesn't do that, and that's where I will say, as much as I bang on AEW about booking, this to me is the alternative to WWE. WWE does have good wrestling, but not like this.
And there is a story here.
Sure.
This was not a match for match sake. This is like, oh, you're the new guy, I'm the badass, And I'm
coming, and now he being MJF and Moxley, the only two guys in AEW history to win the heavyweight title, and be the international champion as well. So MJF making history in that scenario.
Do we get a rematch?
Yes, you got to.
At All Out?
You got to.
Or All In?
That's the Diamond Ring portion of the program. If he'd have won it clean, maybe not. But ultimately, I thought this was going to be a match anyway at Wembley. How we got there.
If you're going to have this match at Wembley,
I don't know how you overdo this.
Yeah, and then you give away an hour-long match on free TV.
I just said that.
Like a month before.
I just said that. I didn't make the Wembley connection, but when Tinder and I were talking about this, literally like an hour before we started recording, I was like, as much as I love AEW and I love the fact that they give us matches like this one you might want to keep in your pocket.
Yeah, because it's tough to go to a rematch afterwards.
You can do it. It's just, how do you? This bar is high.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything.
You know who can do it? Will Ospreay.
Yeah, good point.
Can do it.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. Let's move along. The Acclaimed meet Mark Briscoe in the back. They want in on Blood and Guts. Mark Briscoe brings out Swerve. Swerve approves. The Acclaimed are part of Blood and Guts. I already see hand over face right now. I agree with you. I don't think the Acclaimed really fit into a Blood and Guts scenario, but I'm willing to give this the benefit of the doubt because I am an Acclaimed guy. You are not. Go ahead, shit on this idea.
Every time the Acclaimed start cutting promos, I just feel like saying,
"Shut up, bitches!"
Anthony Bowens.
You ain't shit.
I said this before. Anthony Bowens. I guess he's trying to. I guess it's on purpose, where he just screams, "Everybody loves the Acclaimed" at like one dude, and the dude's like, "All right, man." Like, I don't know why you're yelling.
Everybody loves the Acclaimed.
I don't know why you're yelling at me.
Because everybody loves the Acclaimed.
They don't fit in with this.
I don't think so either. But
I'm cool with Briscoe being in it, but
yeah. Ultimately, I think that's going to set up something else down the line. Maybe Hangman ultimately joins the Elite full time. He takes the ROH Championship. I don't know. The Acclaim seems like the odd people out in this scenario. We shall see. Maybe they'll surprise us all. TV time. I'm sure you love this segment. Well, this was good up to a certain point.
This wasn't good.
Jericho comes out, relives the decimation of Shibata, Hook, and Samoa Joe in that order. Minoru Suzuki comes out to challenge Chris Jericho for the FTW title, where Brian Keith and Big Bill are banned from ringside. You owe us money for that, TK, by the way.
Venmo Jason.
Yeah, please. I'll just say this. I don't know if it was the fact that the first match took everything out of the crowd, or Little Rock doesn't know who Minoru Suzuki is, or doesn't really care about Minoru Suzuki. They know who Chris Jericho is. You know, there was clearly reaction to whatever he was saying. Minoru Suzuki comes out, and that wasn't the reaction I was expecting at all. Not even close.
I mean, there was no reception.
That's being nice. Okay?
Yeah, Little Rock, Arkansas might not be Minoru Suzuki's breadbasket. You know what I mean?
Completely fair. This is where a down part of the show itself. As a non-learning tree kind of guy, I'm not even interested in this. The fact that you brought Minoru Suzuki out and he got this lack of reception, for me, this was just like, ugh. I'm pissed for you, Minoru.
The learning tree thing is wearing thin pretty quick.
What?
I got to be honest.
What?
I got to be honest.
Are we clipping a branch here?
No, we're not clipping the branch. But, I got to call it like I see it. If I admit when I'm wrong, I'll get more credit when I'm right. Is the way I see it. Because people know that I'm honest. Because people know that when I'm wrong, I say I'm wrong, and I'm wrong all the time. The learning tree is getting a little tired.
Where's Zach when you need him? Elite in the back, talking amongst themselves. Mercedes Moné comes out talking about getting all the titles, which I will say that Okada having a title is great. The title he has isn't the title that he should have, but another story for another time. Mercedes Moné comes up, does a little dance, gets Okada hot, whatever.
Mercedes Moné joining the Elite would be a good idea.
Huh.
That's where they should be going. It would be cool to have the Bucks have Mercedes Moné's back. There's a lot of ways you can go with that. I would be down with it. You'd be down with it too, wouldn't you?
You see me over here with the wheels turning. I never even gave that a passing thought until you just said it. And I'm always a fan of factions, and I'm even a bigger fan when you have a female in said faction. I love this idea.
Like yes. Ivory and Right to Censor.
Yes, make it happen.
Mercedes Moné would be the Elite's Ivory.
Jack Perry beats down Brandon Cutler in the back, wants Darby Allin to find him. Yeah, actually, I skipped the match. I'm sorry. Mercedes Moné defending the TBS title versus Nyla Rose. This was what it was. I mean, you knew who was going to win.
Nyla Rose was pretty fun in this match.
I think Nyla Rose has been, at least the promo on, I think it was Collision, where she was talking about she's never drove a Mercedes, but she's ready to wreck one. This is like the first time I really seen like a personality from her. I'm like, let her talk.
She got a promo on Collision where she goes, she was calling out Mercedes Moné, and she was like, she called it Twitter, and she goes, I'm not calling it X.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Same
fuck
promo.
yeah.
Same promo.
I was like, that's good shit, man.
I was like, okay, where's this motherfucker been at? But then now she's kind of felt like in the Sheeta role where she's this champion to at least one time, I think maybe a two-time champion. Neither here nor there.
She was the first.
No, she was the second. Rio was the first, so she was the second champion. Maybe that's where I'm getting the two from, but neither here nor there. She's now falling in that role where she's enhancement talent, where she's putting people
was
over.
The first?
Rio was the first.
Damn.
Exactly. Mercedes Moné wins this match. I believe she tapped her out, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, she tapped her out.
Okay, that's where I was just like, okay. Putting Mercedes really over. I kind of get it because a big opponent like that, that's probably the way to do it. I wouldn't be able to like, okay, Mercedes pinning Nyla Rose is, realistic. I mean, it would have to have been something that would fuck her ass up.
I'll say this, and this is not a knock on either performer, but Nyla Rose is big and Mercedes Moné is small, and Nyla Rose did not look like she was in a lot of pain when she tapped out. That's all I'll say. It didn't look like a very realistic submission. It didn't look like she was actually submitted.
No, it was like, oh, this is the end? All right, fair enough. I'm tapping out.
Yeah.
Obviously,
but it's probably hard for Mercedes Moné to make it look like she's hurting Nyla Rose. Nyla Rose is big.
I get what you were trying to do and build up Mercedes and beat a bigger opponent that's a former AEW Women's Champion. This just
could be, well, whatever. Yeah,
it didn't mesh for me. Just whatever.
I mean, Nyla Rose is also built like Ishii. Like it's hard to It's hard.
Motherfucker, she bigger than Ishii. Let's just call this for what it is. I would say Ishii might have be a better person to put the bank statement on, or whatever the fuck they called it.
Called something real dumb now.
Yeah, it's just like, ugh.
The bank statement was perfect.
Yes. And now I have no idea what this is and what they call it.
I'll think of it. It has something to do with money.
Yes, obviously. Jack Perry, like I said, beats up Brandon Cutler, calls out Darby Allin to find him sometime during the night. Mariah May is next. Once again.
They should call it the canceled check.
Okay.
Oh, she's got her in the canceled check.
Checks we don't do checks a lot, but I do like that we were on. It's a better path than what the fuck they were talking about last night.
I am on fire.
Okay.
I'm booking the shit out of Mercedes Moné.
Better than her fucking creative thought process. I'll say that much. Mariah May, not the reception that I thought she would get. I would thought they would be more heat on her. It was chance for Tony, which you would expect, but maybe it's Little Rock. Little Rock knows this story. So this was where, once again, I'm not giving Little Rock off the hook. They should have been booing her from Jump Street all the way down. Anytime she talks, boo the shit out of her ass.
I'll direct this towards the performer. Mariah May was very good. Her coming out as Toni Storm is smart, because when she came in, she was dressed like NXT Toni Storm with the red and the black, and so it makes sense. I thought her delivery was good. I thought the promo was good. Exactly what you want in a follow-up promo. The crowd did not play along. That's not creatives nor the performer's fault.
I didn't hate the promo. I didn't necessarily like it. It was somewhere for me in the gray. And that to me is more so on Mariah May. You had that moment, and now you come back with kind of I rubbed it in your face. I don't know. It didn't resonate a lot of. There was already heat. I needed to throw another log on that fire, and that I didn't come away with, ooh, yeah, she got her ass real good on that. I just, it just came away from me like they just stoked the fire, and it wasn't for me enough to where I'm gonna watch the match. I'm gonna be invested in the match. But
it definitely turned Toni Storm a babyface.
It turned Toni Storm a babyface, and then I guess my bigger point is it made me think, could Mariah May actually lose this match? A week ago, this was a slam dunk for me. I was already like, yep, this is probably a Stone Cold Lead Pipe Lock of the Week nomination. Now, for me, with that promo, I'm kind of like, they could keep it on Toni.
Yeah, they could keep it on Toni. Yeah. It's not a lead pipe lock. It could go either way.
Now it feels like it can go either way. Before she even spoke, it should have been a slam dunk.
It should go to Mariah May, though.
It felt like it before.
It's been a long time coming with your hottest female act.
I'm not disagreeing with that. That's why I'm saying it makes all the booking sense, what we've been taught. Wrestling 101. Agreed. That promo gave me doubts.
Okay.
Main event time, Okada versus Swerve, champion versus champion. I didn't even look at how much time was left because I didn't want to know how much time was left, if that makes sense. If it was 15 minutes, then in my head, I'll be like, I'm already thinking, something's going to happen. But in the back of my head, I was thinking something's going to happen. You just don't have this match with blood and guts on the horizon and not have some fuckery. And, of course, you had the fuckery. The Bucks come in.
You didn't need a clean finish to this match.
You didn't have to have this match in the bullet, have this bullet in the gun and fire it off in the chamber. Put this bullet away. This bullet should be saved.
Yeah, but they had a short enough one-on-one time that you can always come back to.
Bill, you can't tell me you couldn't. This match is basically set.
Nah.
It was basically set, and now you use two of your biggest stars.
Was Okada's belt on the line?
No, it was champion versus champion.
Yeah.
It wasn't even like title for title or anything like that.
I never expected this to have a finish, and it didn't.
I didn't think.
I
agree with that.
At it. They're trying to sell blood and guts. What do you think about Darby coming in from the ceiling?
It's Sting. Okay, he's being Sting.
Yeah, but he's the right guy to do it.
I'm not mad at him for it. Okay, I'm just thankful he got down in one piece. Ultimately, that's all. Anybody that comes from that high down, I just get your ass on the ground. Okay, unhook this motherfucker. All right, now go fight.
It was a cool moment.
I'm not disagreeing with that.
Crowd popped huge.
Yeah, for sure.
Right when this music played and it didn't come out, I was like, this motherfucker's coming down from the ceiling.
I didn't even think about that until I was like, wait, well, okay, never mind. He's about to say, they waiting for a little bit. Why are they waiting? Okay, yeah. It took me like 2 or 3 minutes.
Motherfuckers in the rafters.
Yeah, crazy motherfucker. But ultimately, Blood and Guts is now officially set. You would have the Elite plus Hangman versus Swerve, Mark Briscoe, the Acclaimed, and Darby Allin. They fight, 10 of them fight to close out Dynamite. To me, like I said, this was the bad part of Dynamite from my perspective. When you got Swerve and Okada as the main event, I don't give a damn shit about Blood and Guts, man.
Wait a
Can we
minute.
finish
when is
the
that
match? What, Blood and Guts?
Yeah.
Next week
On Dynamite?
on Dynamite.
Oh, okay. So it's Dynamite. The Dynamite's called Blood and Guts.
I'm sure that's going to be the main event, but yeah, like they're like a small little, like a Great American Bash for NXT,
Yeah. Okay.
essentially. So
I mean, these matches never really disappoint. I'm looking forward to it. There's going to be a bunch of huge spots.
it better be. Okay, you just made me salivate for Okada and Swerve and didn't give it to me.
The winner does not matter.
Shit, it's going to be survivors. You talking about winners. Get the fuck out of here. If it's going to be anything like it normally is, it's going to be survivors at this point. Darby Allin is a part of this shit, okay? It's going to be survivors. Rampage, we'll just talk about it real quick. House of Black.
Darby Allin, be careful.
Please don't die. House of Black, Roddy Strong wins. Ray Phoenix in a nice little party match for 3 beer. He defeats AR Fox, Commander, and Helico. Thunder Rosa beats Rachel Ellering, but gets jumped by Deonna
Is that
Purrazzo.
person related to Paul Ellering?
His daughter, by the way. And then main event, it seems like we've been seeing a lot of these 6 motherfuckers running around. Top Flight and Action Andretti lose to Shane Taylor Promotions. I was actually kind of shocked at this point. Shane Taylor Promotions loses quite often, so the fact that they won was a bit of a surprise. Pretty good main event for Rampage on Friday night. Any thoughts?
I like Shane Taylor Promotions a lot. Where the fuck is AR Fox been? But no, I didn't watch this very closely. No thoughts.
Collision, once again, fairly quickly. Takeshita defeats Tommy Billington, a.k.a. the, what are they calling him?
They were calling him Dynamite Kid last
yeah,
time.
okay.
They're calling him Dynamite Kid.
I didn't want to say that because I didn't.
He ain't as big as his uncle.
No, he's going to definitely have to put on some weight. Don Callis comes in post-match to try to recruit Tommy Billington, Takeshita, and Don Callis tried to start beating him down. Kyle Fletcher comes out. FTR makes the save. So obviously this is the return of FTR back to AEW action. Bang Bang Gang defeats a bunch of jobbers, but the story here is Jay White being injured by Christian Cage, assuming from the spear from the week before. So the Bang Bang Gang will be getting stripped of the AEW/ROH Trios Championships. They will have to wrestle a match versus the Patriarchy. This case will be the Guns and obviously Juice Robinson versus the Patriarchy. Winner gets the AEW ROH Trios titles. Any problem with the Bang Bang Gang getting stripped of the titles?
If any promotion would have the Freebird rules, you'd think it would be AEW, who kind of has a fondness for that older shit. But no, not really. Well, I mean, they're setting up a heel versus heel. It's a heel versus heel match, basically, unless you're including the Bang Bang Gang as faces, which I'm not.
Nope.
So, yeah, I don't know. I don't really care. Those trios titles aren't over, and they're not over with me either.
Well, I will go ahead and be the dissenting voice here. I do care. I think it would have been perfect to have the Freebird rule for the Bang Bang Gang, especially if you're not really using Jay White in the way that I think he should be used. So, yeah, for me, I do have a problem with it. If you're going to have the Patriarchy take the titles, which I would assume that they will do, I'd much rather it be in a scenario where, you don't know who's coming on the Bang Bang Gang side. But neither here nor there. If the Patriarchy wins it, I won't be pissed off because that means that's a little more Christian Cage on a weekly basis. And God knows he's entertaining on the screen, in the mic in the hand. So, yeah, I wouldn't have a problem with that ultimately. Roddy Strong versus Dalton Castle. Yeah, winner of that match gets Mark Briscoe at Death Before Dishonor. I believe that's the end of the month, next weekend. Yeah, great job, TK, pushing that bad boy. Neither here nor there. Roddy Strong defeats Dalton Castle, so you will get Roddy versus Mark Briscoe for the ROH title. interest in this Briscoe Roddy Strong match?
High.
Quiet as kept. I'm interested too.
Yeah. It's two guys you never really think about wrestling each other, but I'm sure they've wrestled each other before.
I'm sure they have.
I'm on record as being a massive Roddy Strong work rate guy, and Mark Briscoe, when we went to Dynasty, like Mark Briscoe is one of the funnest guys all night. Like the guy, it really like. I don't think I'd ever seen him. Well, no, I did see him at a couple ROH shows. I don't know. He's a really fun wrestler. This could be a really fun match.
No, I'm actually intrigued to see the match. I don't really have a preference on who wins, but fingers crossed, it should be a pretty good main event match.
I know there's tons of people listening that are probably like, yeah, dude, Mark Briscoe fucking rules. Like, what the fuck's wrong with you? Now, I watched moderate amounts of ROH.
Well, for me, and I'll just speak for my personal experience, when I saw Mark, I saw Jay, and that means, they were a tag team. That, to me, was the way that I was really introduced to Mark Briscoe. Obviously, Jay, as a former ROH champion, in that scenario, I got to see a little bit of his singles run more. This, to me, is really the first time, and I know he's, Mark Briscoe's, chased other titles or whatever the case may be, TV title, obviously, at one point. But this, for me, is the first time I'm really seeing Mark Briscoe on his own, doing his own thing. So at this point, I'm along for the ride. I'm sure, my wrestling Lord and Savior High Five Time could tell you all about, Mark Briscoe and his ROH days, because that's his wheelhouse. Like I said, for me, this is just something I'm just not accustomed to. So I'm really looking forward to seeing this match. I think it would be a pretty good fucking main event. Let these motherfuckers roll.
Me too, bro.
The mask, I guess, I'm assuming this is Aerostar that is coming to AEW. Not much hints outside of a couple of vignettes and a masked man with, coming soon. It says Aerostar from the things that I've read, so I'm going with that. I'm probably wrong, but I guess we'll find out next week. Chris Statlander.
I didn't see that, nor do I know who Aerostar is.
I think he was in MLW for a while. I think that's one of the last times I've seen him.
Is he Latino?
I would think more like I don't think he's masked, so I don't even know what he is. But Lucha Libre is more still his style. So if you look at it like that,
There's a difference between a white mask guy though and a Latino mask guy. Or a black mask guy.
This is true. Now I'm about to say we can eliminate black mask.
Right. Yeah.
I was about to say the way this motherfucker moves, not black. Chris Statlander and Stokely Hathaway backstage. I love these two together. Never thought I would like Chris Statlander as a heel, but she's petty, and like she said about Stokely, he's a hater. So they're not done with Will Nightingale. Will Nightingale, if you don't know, has won the CMLL Women's Championship since Stephanie Vakir has left to go to WWE. That spot has been filled by Will Nightingale, so I'm assuming we might see something along the lines of another match between the two at the bare minimum, maybe with the title on the line as the cherry on top. Vignette for Danielson and Page for the finals of the Owen Hart tournament. Doesn't really matter. Top Flight defeats Lee Moriarty and Anthony Ogogo. Once again, Shane Taylor Promotions on another match, 2 in a row if you're counting at home. Top Flight winning, not a surprise to me at least. As a tag team, I think they should have been beating Lee Moriarty and Anthony Ogogo, but I do like Lee Moriarty. It's just Shane Taylor Promotions just gets a little love every now and then. Here's a bone for you, but we're going to keep it moving. Deonna Purrazzo, Thunder Rosa backstage, talking some shit. We talked about Nyla Rose talking some shit. Sky Blue defeats Harley Cameron, but then post-match in a vignette calls out Sheeta. Now, I'm going to say this right now. If Sheeta loses this match, you're going to hear me next week. Sheeta better not be losing this goddamn match. I'm going to say this shit right now.
She's facing who?
Sky Blue versus Sheeta next week.
Oh, yeah. She is not going to lose.
She better not lose that match. Look, Sky Blue can have a fat ass all she wants to. She ain't beating no Sheeta, goddammit.
Unprofessional bullshit.
Anyway, main event times: Orange Cassidy and Kyle O'Reilly versus the Undisputed Kingdom. In this case, it would be the ROH Tag Team Champions Matt Taven and Mike Bennett. Taven and Bennett go over with a sick spike pile driver on Kyle O'Reilly to finish. And then just as shit is starting to calm down a little bit, you see your boy Trent Beretta attacking Orange Cassidy, saying this shit ain't over. And as soon as he's going in to attack Kyle O'Reilly, the Kingdom stops the attack. To me, this is funny and ironic all at the same time. We can spike pile drive him, but you can't touch him. Pretty good main event match. Good to see Trent Beretta back. Hopefully he's back in action and we can continue the Orange Cassidy Trent Beretta storyline. I think Trent Beretta is just right there. Orange Cassidy is the right person to get him over as the heel. I'm not saying he's going to, win the title or anything, but I've really been waiting for him to flip heel. He's finally done it. Now we need to get him in a feud that we can get him invested in him so we can move forward along with him.
Matt Taven's really good.
Matt Taven is amazing.
Yeah,
he's so fucking
every time
underrated.
I pay attention to something he's doing, I'm like, God damn, this guy should be wrestling all the fucking time. Why aren't we talking about him having the solo shit?
So underrated. He was ROH champion for a little bit.
Yeah, I know, but he hasn't done anything solo in
a hot minute.
He had one match. I forget who it was against. It was like it closed out a Collision a few weeks ago, and it was like really fucking good. It's like this guy should be in main events all the time. But
he ended up getting busted open or whatever. I remember that.
Yeah, that's my big takeaway from that match, though.
No, I was going to say it's a takeaway. Matt Taven is criminally underrated. There you go. That could be your nominee for the Chad Gable Most Underrated Beef for 2024.
Oh, that's a good idea.
You're welcome.
Very good.
That wraps up Dynamite. All AEW proper. I'm gonna just go ahead and say it. I like AEW. I want it to succeed.
Oh, my God.
I really do.
You're getting serious.
No, I am. I'm getting dead-ass serious for 30 seconds. Rampage and Collision just have to be better. They just have to.
I don't know if that's true. Like,
no,
maybe they can just be kind of skippable wrestling matches with some cool shit on it sometimes.
Come on.
Yeah, that's asking a lot.
This is not even this is like bare bones shit. Really. The last couple of weeks, just,
Dynamite.
they throwing shit out there.
But Dynamite's pretty consistently great.
Okay. What did I say? Rampage and Collision have to be better.
Sometimes Collision is good. Rampage is just...
Okay. Sometimes Collision is good. That's not good enough, man. I mean, damn.
Yeah, it is. That's good enough.
No.
You spoiled, rotten, little... We have so much fucking wrestling on every week.
Okay.
They put on 2 hours of banger television every single week.
Stop. That's on Wednesdays.
That's on Wednesdays. And you're mad because Rampage and Collision ain't good enough?
They ain't even good.
Dude.
Rampage. Okay, can we agree that Rampage is not good?
Rampage isn't good, but Rampage still has shit like AR Fox versus Fenix versus Commander versus Angelico.
You need to throw some shit out there like that.
We
God
are
damn.
Spoiled rotten.
No.
That
I don't
shit's
ask
on
that
Rampage.
much.
I only skip it because everything else is so fucking good.
Stop. Get the fuck out of here. Sky Blue versus Harley Cameron is moving the needle for other reasons, yeah, but not for the in-ring wrestling. Get the fuck out of here.
Moving the needle, but they could easily have Sky Blue versus Harley Cameron on a fucking Dynamite some night, not just not last very long.
No, it was in the perfect spot. Collision makes all the sense in the world.
I think you're acting spoiled.
Shut the fuck up.
Let's get to that 2 count.
I demand more, TK.
SmackDown starts off with Tiffany Stratton coming out to cut a promo, and Bayley comes out and cuts a promo against her, and they had instant chemistry. I was like, this could be a feud that I would be into. I thought it was really good. Both played their parts perfectly. What Bayley said as the champion veteran coming out and talking shit to the new kid was also really good. So really like this segment. And then Nia Jax came out.
Stop.
Before that it was really good.
You ain't shit, dog. Look, I would give Nia Jax credit. the BBL line, didn't see it coming. I had a giggle.
I had to look it up.
It's like, yeah, she got a point. All bullshit aside, I like the fact that Nia Jax came out because she feels like almost the forgotten person a little bit. SummerSlam.
How could Nia Jax be forgotten? She won Queen of the Ring. She's on television every week.
She's, at least for me, with SummerSlam creeping up, felt like Tiffany Stratton was the person. Who they introduced first? Tiffany Stratton. They introduced Nia Jax.
Well, she just won Money in the Bank.
Okay, and what did you just say? You just said that Nia Jax was one Queen of the Ring, in retort. Like, I was the crazy one. If it's that serious and Bayley has a match with her, who should have been coming out first? It probably should have been Nia Jax coming out first, and then Tiffany Stratton coming out to say, hey, motherfuckers, whoever it is, you might well watch your back. That's all I'm saying.
Did you like the Tiffany Stratton Bayley?
Oh, yeah.
Part of it?
That's present guard versus the future guard. That was cool.
All right.
I had no problem with Nia Jax coming out because you have to build to the SummerSlam match, which they really haven't done.
No, I mean, she had to come out. It just kind of brings down the segment.
Stop, man. God damn.
I'm not a huge Jax fan.
So Michin was your saving grace when she came in with the kendo stick?
No, dude.
Okay, thank you. I'm not saying she didn't bring down the damn segment. Give me a break.
At least she tries hard in the OC.
She's the only one.
Baron Corbin and Apollo Crews lose to Los Lotharios, who are part of LDF. And then Orton and Cody have a segment backstage. Anything to say about either of those?
Baron Corbin as a babyface doesn't work. Randy Orton
It worked in NXT, and then they just took him off TV for too long, and it just died.
Yeah.
It could have worked.
It could have worked. Now it's okay. It's clear that you didn't know what to do, and now you're just putting them with poor Apollo Crews or vice versa, depending on your perspective. Neither here nor there. I mean, they were destined to lose. The Cody Randy segment to me was, it's intriguing because at some point we're going to – Cody, I expect him to hold the title for a little bit. At some point, Randy Orton kept saying, I got your back. I got your back. I'm like, come on, Cody. Don't be the typical babyface. This is Randy Orton.
It's going to be cool when he
does flip him. It's like, yes.
Did you like the LA Knight promo?
Yeah. I mean, I think the build to the match just verbally should be amazing because they can both talk. I like LA Knight in the ring. You guys don't. So for me, I think the match should be good as well. So for me, I was intrigued with the build for the match for sure.
Blair Davenport gets her very own vignette and then comes out and promptly loses to Naomi, who afterwards meets up with Bianca and Jade. What did you think about Blair Davenport losing, and what did you think about the Naomi Bianca Jade backstage segment?
It couldn't have been a match worse where two women, when but Blair and Naomi, they both need a push, and you put them against each other in the match. I mean, no real winner there. I thought Blair Davenport was going to win, and when she lost, I was like, ugh, okay. Yeah. Interesting booking there, Triple H, but, I guess it can't be perfect.
I guess they gave her a vignette, though, and
And then she lost.
Yeah, but, I guess that's them saying, this is somebody that we have confidence in, and this is somebody that we should be giving TV time to. And
follow my bouncing ball.
Okay.
They have the match. Blair Davenport loses. Then backstage, Davenport, shakes the hand, left hand. And I was like, okay, Naomi, you really stupid. You're going to put the injured hand out there, but whatever. Doesn't attack her, but then comes back around and attacks her after the fact. Nobody got over.
Wait, Blair Davenport attacked Naomi?
Backstage, yeah.
I thought they shook hands.
They did, and then she walked away, and then 2 seconds later, yacked her from the back.
I guess I walked away, too.
So yeah.
I completely missed that. I thought that maybe Blair Davenport was going to become buddies with Naomi.
No, I was about to say, fuck that. She got her lick back. Oh. So once again.
They got the then they're pushing her to the moon.
Yeah, what the fuck? I was about to say, neither one of them gets over in that shit. Nobody. It's like, so why are we doing this? If you're going to have this match, then have the match and have someone be strong coming out of it. Neither person looks strong coming out of that.
So 8 Down Under loses the DIY. Then, because the next segment is the Bloodline, Jacob Fatu comes out and just fucking destroys him.
It's like, what the fuck?
You know, that's Umaga booking.
Yeah. Well, it's Solo Sikoa booking too. Solo Sikoa was a beast until he lost his first match on the main roster. So I mean, it's to me, it's just shifting people over. Solo is Roman, Jacob is now Solo, and then you have, you know, God as the Usos. So yeah, it's the Bloodline 2.0.
And then Solo Sikoa comes out and says, when Roman comes back, he will acknowledge me as head of the table also. Okay, so that's done now. We are going to get Roman versus Solo. I know that we all knew it was going to happen, but I mean, that's a huge thing to say for Solo.
Oh yeah, because he has to say it. Number one, and number two, you know, it's a match that ultimately I think I don't think The Rock has to fall in here somewhere. That's the domino to me I'm waiting for to see how this ultimately unfolds.
Do you think The Rock comes back and acknowledges Solo as the head of the table?
I think The Rock is the one that's, you know, holding. If we're getting Rock versus Roman, then we have to pit Rock on the opposite side of Roman. So how do we do it? Either
he acknowledges Solo the same way they acknowledge Roman.
I don't know if that's going to fly. I was getting ready to say, you see me over here squirming in my seat. To me, it's
so heelish, dude.
To me, it would be more
That'd
like
be so heelish if he acknowledged Solo as the head of the
well,
table.
yeah. You saw how motherfuckers lost their mind when he acknowledged Roman Reigns. I was one of them motherfuckers was literally falling out of the chair. It would be the reaction would be twice as shocking just because of who Solo Sikoa is right now. I don't know if it would be if Solo is credible enough to have that happen. For me, Rock would be over Solo calling the shots. Roman then figures it out, and that's how you can pit them against each other. At least that's the way I would think it would happen. Maybe it won't. Well, time will tell. I will say that I do like Solo growing into this Bloodline leader, the head of the table, whatever you want to call it. It's not Roman, but I don't want it to be Roman. I want it to be Solo.
And then Orton and Cody get their ass beat by Bloodline 2.0. So, you know.
Take that, motherfucker.
That's pretty standard stuff. Pretty good SmackDown. Raw, so when I go to work and I watch wrestling on my phone, I prop it up on my laptop, just like your laptop's sitting in front of me right here. I just put it right there. Got my little earbud in. And I just put it in one ear so I can hear if my boss is coming.
Of course.
And I just watch wrestling. So, Tuesday, I forgot my earbuds.
Son of a bitch. You needed it for this for just Dom alone.
I watched Raw, but, like, sometimes there's nobody at the office. And this time, like, every motherfucker is there. So I had it, like, on the lowest setting. Like, I don't think you could hear it over my cubicle. You know what I mean? But like,
yeah, you hunched over and shit.
Oh yeah, yeah.
God
just
damn.
got one ear up to it when I see like Drew McIntyre. It looks like he's saying something cool. I'm like, what the motherfucker is it?
Rewind it. Shit.
Go act like I'm taking a shit so I can just watch it in the fucking bathroom. So that's my little disclaimer for Raw. That's how I watched Raw.
I was about to say I got you.
Opens up with Ripley and Dom and Liv shows up on the big screen. This was kind of the story of the show, so we'll just go through the whole story. So there's several backstage segments, and one of them, Dom tries to give Rhea a black rose. Rhea's like, what the fuck is this? And it's like, Dom's like, what do I have to do? And I got to say, right then and there, I empathized with them. I was like, I know what that's like when you try to do something nice and they find something wrong with the nice thing you did just because they don't want to. I felt, yeah. But The funniest part.
Dom, the sympathetic character. I'm more looking at him like, man, this is most motherfuckers I've ever met in life.
Okay.
They gone fucked up and now trying to figure this shit out.
Jay Uso just completely disrespectful to Dom. He's like, so Rhea's single?
That motherfucker didn't wait.
Like, he could have asked Damian Priest when Dom wasn't around or something, but he just went right up. He's like, damn, I'm going to take a run at that.
I was like, oh, Jay's getting ready to challenge him for the title. I was like, what the fuck's getting ready?
It's funny how horny he acted, man. And then, like, we didn't even talk about Okada getting all horny for Sasha Banks, too.
No, I did say that.
Horny week of wrestling.
No shit.
So, and then finally it ends with, okay, so Dom versus Jay. Liv comes down, distracts Rhea. I don't even remember how this happened. Did Liv and Dom end up landing on top of each other again? Oh, yeah, they did. And then Rhea came out. Jay ends up getting the win. What you think about the Judgment Day progress on this episode?
So many moving parts again, but ultimately it centers around Rhea and Dom now this time for this week. Rhea's not going to let it easily slide, and ultimately I almost forget about the match. I would assume will be a SummerSlam match, Rhea versus Liv for the title. Like I said, that's where I think ultimately Dom flips on Rhea, and Liv, I would assume, joins Judgment Day, depending on what happens with Damian Priest down the line. But no, all this sets
Dom's heat, which is already still at like a fever pitch.
Imagine if he flips on Rhea.
If he flips on Rhea, his heat is going to be nuclear.
That's how you get more heat on him. You get heat on Liv. If you keep Judgment Day together, if you wanted to, you could have Finn flip on Damian Priest and then just have a recreated Judgment Day, all kinds of heat on him. I know people are saying that Judgment Day are going to break up, and if they do, great. I don't think that's.
I'll tell you what, we've been talking about Judgment Day breaking up for like 6 months.
Yeah, I don't think it's a slam dunk just yet. I don't
think it's a slam dunk yet either.
People get kicked out, but I think Judgment Day ultimately stays as a faction.
They already got a bunch of idiots just waiting to get in. Like, is Carlito even in?
Man. Carlito's still little brother, man. He got still,
I mean, JD still ain't on the shirts.
JD still ain't on the shirts, so yeah, good point. I mean, at this point, I think JD should be in. I mean, motherfucker brought home the tag title, so,
I know.
No, honestly, I like Judgment Day. I like the fact that they're being relevant as we're figuring out what's going to happen with Damian Priest, Rhea Ripley, Dom, and Liv. That's the four main characters. From that point, Finn will, I would assume, come back into singles action at some point, later point. But ultimately, I do love Dom and Liv as a couple, quote unquote. Rhea coming back is perfect. I'm looking forward to this match at SummerSlam. I really am. I think the heat when it happens is going to be the watch.
Yes, the crowd's into it. It's way, 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 way over.
Fuck yeah.
So it's good stuff. Talk to me for a minute about Sheamus versus Bronson Reed. Dunn comes out to make the save because Bronson Reed is being dishonorable. And Pete Dunne saves Sheamus and then kind of shoves Sheamus away.
Then attacks Sheamus.
So, like I said last week, I'm happy to see that they're not just putting Pete Dunne in matches that he can lose. I'm happy to see that they're doing something with him. And him versus Sheamus feels like a SmackDown before SummerSlam type main event or big match that would happen. I don't see it making it to SummerSlam.
Nah.
But it's a match I want to see, and Pete Dunne obviously fucking rules.
It's been a while since we've seen Pete Dunne with anything, I guess, singles-wise that would be significant, relevant for quite some time. I mean, he had the NXT run, and then, they brought him up under the Vince watch, and, he's just not a Vince guy, unfortunately, for Pete Dunne. And he's just kind of been, just treading water really ever since. So at least, like you said last week, this feels like, it's something for him to sink his teeth into while Tyler Bate is on the shelf. And I guess we're getting a triple threat. I don't know. I mean, so like in one hand you have Bronson Reed with beef with Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne has obviously beef with Sheamus. Sheamus, beat Bronson Reed, but then Bronson Reed hits the tsunami off of the top rope. So, I mean, for me, it just all feels like this is going to be a triple threat of some sort. It would be, it just feels like Bronson Reed and Pete Dunne clearly aren't done, because if it was the case of Pete Dunne was going to join Bronson Reed, then I would assume that Bronson Reed and Pete Dunne would have just attacked Sheamus post-match or whatever, and then, have them walk off to the sunset, which wouldn't have been necessarily a bad thing. I wouldn't have necessarily minded that, but neither here nor there. For me, if I had to take a guess on this one, I'm guessing triple threat. Like you said, maybe the SmackDown before SummerSlam or leading up to this in some form or fashion. But, yeah, for me, I like Pete Dunne. A mid-card title run wouldn't be beyond the realm of possibility, because obviously you have Sheamus on the Raw side where the IC title is the only title he's never won. Maybe you can put Pete Dunne in the way of Sheamus winning the IC title. Bronson Reed ain't doing shit. Maybe you can put him in the middle of this too. So, I mean, you got options. Triple threat is where I think the safe money is, but, time will tell ultimately where this ends up.
So Sami Zayn and Ilya Dragunov are backstage talking to each other like psychopaths. Like if
Don't
that was
take
the
this
way,
ass kicking personally.
If that was the way two real people talk to each other, it'd be really funny. But
Only in wrestling.
Not real. I don't remember when Dragunov got added to this. I'm cool with it, obviously, but I don't remember when he got added to this.
Like the week before when he saved Sammy, but then ended up getting catching that work from Braun as well.
In the most surprising thing of the night, Sami Zayn and Ilya Dragunov fight in the main event, and God damn, man, when Braun Breaker came running out, I popped. I was like, oh, shit.
I was like, dude,
this is shocking.
He ran down. I started shaking my head like he getting ready to kill these motherfuckers.
I am joking, though. It was so very predictable. It's like, well, Braun Breaker's coming out. I mean, I don't really have to watch this match.
No. They teased me with something good, and then as soon as they both rolled out to the ring, outside of the ring, I was like, fuck, here we go.
So this looks like it's going to be a triple threat.
For sure.
I don't. You're never going to see me turn down a triple threat,
especially with these three guys. Fuck that. Let's do it.
But I don't care how many triple threats. They can have 3 triple threats on fucking SummerSlam. I'm fine with it. I don't give a fuck.
Okay.
More triple threats, the
better.
Yeah, because this match is going to fucking rule. We talked about it last week. What you think about Gunther and Damian Priest? What a good promo. What a good promo segment. This got me more psyched for the match. Gunther calling him common street trash.
I was like, whoa,
buddy.
Okay.
Good
so
shit.
We're going there. And that to me was I was like, okay, so this is the Damian Priest face turn, right? At least for this match. You really feel like this was a concerted effort to make Gunther look as heelish as possible on the mic.
Mission accomplished.
And once he said street trash, I was like, oh.
Well, Gunther,
now you've got it.
He's so
you gonna fuck up.
He's so fucking cool and confident.
It's
really believable.
It's condescending.
Yeah,
That's what it is. And nobody likes a motherfucker to condescend to them. And that's what it felt like. He's already got, we've seen the vignette before. This is his run, dominance, blah blah blah, all check marks. Great vignette. So then when he comes out and starts talking. And it's basically like, why don't you just hand the title over? I was like, damn, we ain't gonna have the match. You just like that, okay?
Cold-blooded, dude.
I mean, just give me the title and let's just call this a thing of rap. That's the condescending part. Ultimately, it makes me think that it's going to be hard for me to see Gunther lose just because of how strong he's been booked to this point. And that's not a knock against Damian Priest. To me, he just might be on the train tracks at the wrong time at the wrong place. Unfortunately, Gunther just feels like, even if they weren't going to Berlin next month, I don't give a rat's ass, or in September, I don't give a rat's ass. This feels like the time to do it. Gunther's the right person to do it. It would make, you would have to really come up with a booking story where Judgment Day comes out and helps Damian Priest. Outside of that, can't see it happening.
You know what? You've reminded me about Bash at Berlin. I was getting ready to say Stone Cold Lead Pipe Lock of the Week. Gunther goes over Damian Priest. And now you said that, and I'm like, Well, I'm thinking you'd have him win at SummerSlam. That would make the most sense. That would make the most sense. It would be a huge moment to have him win at Bash at Berlin. They have kind of taken the ball away from a few fans in the United Kingdom when it comes to having McIntyre go over a couple times.
No, you don't.
But I don't know. I think that Gunther has to go over Damian Priest here. It makes the most sense.
Like I said, I like Damian Priest. I do. From where he's come to where he is, no knock. Keep him in the world title picture if you want to after the fact. You have just booked Gunther way too strong for me to see Damian Priest beat Gunther clean.
Yeah, I mean, Gunther's what? He's lost like 4 times since he's been in NXT UK. I mean, including NXT UK, he never fucking loses.
I don't see why you start right here.
He's lost like 4 times in fucking, 6 years?
Something stupid, okay? It's just... He
went wire to wire in the Royal Rumble and lost to number 30, and it was Cody fucking Rhodes. You don't get a whole lot stronger than that unless you're Cody fucking Rhodes.
Okay, you're making my case. All right.
Stone Cold Lead Pipe Lock of the Week. Gunther goes over Damian Priest at SummerSlam. I'm not changing it. I'll never change it.
He'll just add more to him. It's the 4th Stone Cold Lead Pipe Lock of the Week, Bill. You can't have more.
No, I can have as many as I want. Strowman goes over Damian Priest, or Strowman loses to Damian Priest.
I say he better not be.
Let's skip ahead to McIntyre with Adam Pearce. Adam Pearce is like, fine, you just have to apologize to the referees, and McIntyre's like, now you're just embarrassing me. That's my Scottish accent.
I am not mad at Drew. Fuck that shit. These motherfuckers are incompetent. They the ones that are fucking up. Why should I have to apologize to them when they can't get their shit right?
That's Jason Bell identifying with the heel. The out of control, megalomaniacal.
I love heels. Boo the shit out of them, but I still love them.
Heel.
No, he is still right. He is still right. Every time you look up, it's some incompetence that is costing Drew his moments. And the only time I would say that it's on Drew was after WrestleMania when he decided to hang out there, and that's on him. Outside of that, nah. Everybody else, you blame them.
I was going to say, that's not incompetence. That was just him being too cocky.
Arrogant.
Yeah. And then what had to be the funnest moment of the night was Eric Rowan talking about the death of his 2 friends. I said that in jest, obviously. This was a heartbreaking segment. They are attacking this Wyatt thing is like Jekyll and Hyde. And
dude, you go ahead and finish. I want to hear what you got to say before I say anything.
Half of it is like based in total reality. It's very raw and honest, and one of those things that, like we said a couple weeks ago, like can only happen in professional wrestling. And then the rest of it is fucking Nikki Cross crawling around in smoke, handing people VHS tapes. But this was effective, and this was, like I said, really, really sad. It was, Eric Rowan talked about his suicidal thoughts after both Brody Lee, a.k.a. Luke Harper, who was his tag team partner in the Bludgeon Brothers for a long time too, passed away, and then Bray Wyatt. I mean, that was the original Wyatt family, was those three.
Right.
So Eric Rowan, watching him cut this promo was pretty heart-wrenching.
It's the Wyatts are, like you said, it's Jekyll and Hyde, and I feel like it's Jekyll and Hyde. The promos,
you could say it's Bo Dallas and Uncle Howdy.
Nigga. The promos, they're hitting those out of the park. I did not even consider having empathy, sympathy, whatever word you want to use in the sentence for Eric Rowan. And when he started telling this story, I was like, damn. I was literally engrossed into this story.
Well, we've never heard him talk either. It's not like he ever cut a promo.
Okay, and this is the first thing he really says. I'm just like, Jesus Christ.
Pretty rough stuff.
So now we fast forward to Chad Gable and the Bo Dallas segment. One of the things I don't like about this Wyatt angle so far is the first week they came out, they destroy everybody. We were thinking that Chad Gable was shot. Okay? Now you fast forward to this point where Chad Gable is like, I get it, he's trying to be entertaining, it's being funny, but the Wyatts ain't supposed to be funny. When you come out and destroy everybody and look like there's mass murder, you can't go to a comedy and make it funny. Chad Gable's like, oh, I know who Uncle Howdy is Bo Dallas. Motherfucker, we all know. That's the funny part, and they're trying to be funny, and it's not supposed to be funny.
I hear you. I hear exactly what you're saying. It's like Chad Gable and the Wyatt Six. It's even though they're both on Raw, it's kind of like they exist on different shows. There's just a different vibe when it comes to those two acts thing. It's kind of like when Angle had that Undertaker feud. It was like, well, this is just weird because Angle's out there in a fucking singlet,
right,
with the U.S. with the fucking stars and stripes on it, and Undertaker's fucking making Paul Bearer disappear and lightning strike and shit like that. It's a weird dynamic. I gotta say, this was a miss for me. Bo Dallas coming out, getting his ass kicked. What a fucking odd way to introduce the Creeds with Gable. That's the first time they've ever been put together. They beat the shit out of Bo Dallas, and then they get scared off by a bunch of dudes wearing masks.
You talk about Roman Reigns taking so long. This was the save. They took their sweet ass time to, coming down to save Bo Dallas.
They didn't even save him. They just came out and posed, right?
Essentially, yes.
They didn't hit anybody.
They ran him off. Whatever words you want to use. Okay. Ultimately, didn't like that. To me, this feels like The Fiend all over again. Everything up to The Fiend, before he got into the ring, we liked. It made sense.
And then making them baby faces, too.
The fuck? They just destroyed Gorilla.
This is why you don't do this spooky shit, because it's impossible to fucking book.
No, it's not. It really isn't.
It is.
If you come out and stomp everybody, that's fine. Then you stick to that script. You don't make them funny. You don't make them too spooky. You just go out and beat the shit out of motherfuckers. They are now.
Ooh.
They were when they first walked in the door, obviously. But it's just, I am starting to really get concerned that the Wyatt Six is going to be this incarnation, Bray Wyatt, or The Fiend, all over again. It took Seth Rollins damn near 2 years to bounce back from that match in the Hell in a Cell versus The Fiend. The Wyatt Six is on that same track.
I don't want to sound like a broken record, but just think if their whole introduction was just these VHS tapes, and then you introduced them. What if you didn't have all the fucking QR codes? What if you didn't have all the spooky stuff? What if you didn't have the masks? What if they were just put together like a bunch of badass dudes with a funny vibe, with a strange vibe, a Wyatt vibe,
right,
but just kick-ass wrestlers?
I don't mind the mask
on a wrestling show.
I don't mind the mask because that to me is a throwback to the Wyatts, the original Bray and the Bludgeon Brothers. It's the QR codes, just the smoke. That's where you start to lose me. And like I said, everything up to the point of getting into the ring is on brand. I like. My fear is once that bell rings, this shit's gonna go left, and that's how you lose them. Same way you did with the Fiend.
I think that's going to do it for our SmackDown Raw WWE main roster, unless there's something I'm forgetting.
No, I was just going to say you had the ladies. I'm not sure what we're calling them as the factions. Zoe Stark, Shayna, and Sonya Deville won a couple of different matches. But outside
the
of that,
Scissor Gang. Right?
Done.
Wasn't that the joke?
Done. The Scissor Gang it is. Scissor Gang wins 2 different separate matches. But no, you covered it.
What if they were like Scissor Me Mommy and Sonya Deville did it with Zoe Stark or something?
Jesus, that would be fucking amazing. It would be another queer shot across the bow, and I would love to see that shit. Honestly, I think a lot of this is because now you have the 2 women's mid-card titles, so now that's why at least
when are those getting introduced?
I don't think they've set a date yet, but obviously they're on the way, and that's why I think you're seeing more women come out. Sonya Deville, Chelsea Green on SmackDown, even though she had the neck brace on or whatever.
She's a star.
Yeah, I think she'll be in the running for one of those mid-card titles. So I think that's the reason why you're seeing more women come out, at least singles-wise. Blair Davenport, hopefully, if they can get their shit together in that scenario, she could be in the running for a mid-card title. But I do like the fact that you do have the mid-card women titles, and the result of it is you're seeing more of them on screen having matches.
That's going to do it for our 2 count.
1, 2, 3.
Jason, the 3 count is yours. You can choose whatever you want, but I know what I want you to choose.
But then pull that motherfucker up. Let's talk G1.
Let's talk G1.
Okay. Obviously, G1 is this weekend. I believe it's the 20th, so that is Saturday, if my math is correct. 2 different blocks, obviously, A block, B block. The winner of the G1 gets the title shot. I'm assuming it would be against Naito on January 4th at Wrestle Kingdom. I didn't know that Wrestle Kingdom and Wrestle Dynasty were 2 totally different things. Apparently, we're still going to have a Wrestle Kingdom with New Japan as the sole promotion. But then on the flip side, obviously, you would have the Wrestle Dynasty with AEW and New Japan as the 2 main promotions on that. So let's just get down to it. You have the 2 blocks. Start with Block A in no particular order. You have Shota Umino, Tetsuya Naito, Shingo Takagi, Sonata, Great-O-Khan, Zack Sabre Jr., Gabe Kidd, Jake Lee, Evil, and Callum Newman, who won the play-in. On the B block side, you have El Phantasmo, Hiroki Goto, Yota Tsuji, Yuya Uemura, Jeff Cobb. If you haven't seen Jeff Cobb press conference on New Japan World, must watch. Push Jeff Cobb to the moon. Hanare, David Finlay, Ren Narita, Tenosuke Takeshita, obviously from AEW, and DDT, and then Bolton Oleg, the second winner of the play-in. So you have the 2 block sets. It looks like they do have matches already. Well, not the dates, but you have the blocks set up, ready to go. This time around, it's going to be a little different from previous G1s. New setup, new format. The winners of the A block and the B block will get a bye into the semifinals. Then you would have winners, or the second and the third place finishers from both block face each other. The winner gets the winner of said blocks, and then obviously you go from there. You'll get a winner. Like I said, the winner will get a title shot at Wrestle Kingdom.
The play-in match between the number 2 and number 3 in each block to see who faces the winner
of the block.
Will be a rematch.
Essentially, yes, because at some
they
point
will
they
have
would have
fought.
to, at one point during the block, and then they would have to wrestle, essentially, like you said, a play-in. The winner would get the number 1 ranked person in said block.
Let's just get down to it. Who wins Block A?
Zack Sabre Jr.
That is what I think also. Who is in second and who is in third?
I will go.
You remember
with,
last year it was Evil.
Yeah.
Evil was in the semis last year.
Yeah, and that's kind of where.
There are rumors that Jake Lee has signed with NJPW.
I cannot confirm or deny, but I was going to put him in the 2 spot. So let's go.
You got
ZSJ, Jake Lee, and Evil as my 1, 2, 3.
Whoa, that's a weird top 3.
Somebody's got to represent House of Torture in this bullshit that never fails.
There's no way Naito's not in that top 3 unless he's not healthy.
I don't think he necessarily has to be.
What do you mean?
He's a champ.
But he won it last year. He's defending G1 champion.
Okay.
I got Jake Lee, I got Naito, and I got Zack Sabre Jr. Zack Sabre Jr. and Naito have only fought one time, right?
I'm sure it's more than once. I mean, in G1, I'm sure it's been more than once. I know it's been more than once. The one time he got hurt,
you see Zack Sabre Jr. coming out of that block in the finals?
Shota, too young. Naito already there. Shingo, booking.
Shota could be in the top 3.
Shota could be in the top 3. I'm not going to sit here and deny that. Shingo's booking has been inconsistent. Sonata, enough said. Great-O-Khan, even less said. Gabe Kidd is the dark horse. I would love to see him get a top 3 spot. That would make my life even better. Callum Newman is going to be the guy that's eating pins along with Bo Norweg on the B-side.
Very much looking forward to Gabe Kidd versus Zack Sabre Jr.
Fucking A. Let's do that shit.
Yeah. Zack Sabre Jr.'s him and Ishii were always the 2 guys that it's like every match you got to watch. Even though neither one of them really ever had a chance to win in the past. Also very much looking forward to Shingo versus Shota again. I'm looking forward to Gabe Kidd versus everybody.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. I'm curious to see what Sonata looks like post dropping the title. It's been a little bit since we've seen him. I would love to see him get a little swagger. I would love to see him get a little swagger. Shingo is the guy I really love to see get a top 3 spot. I mean, it's almost like he never won the title, and the fact that he won it during the pandemic or at least post-pandemic, or however you want to look at it, and just isn't booked the same as that little pandemic run always kind of bothers me. I would love to see Shingo get a spot even over Naito.
Great-O-Khan has to have a good tournament or
what?
I guess nothing.
Yeah. Did I say, well, what? The fuck? I mean, damn, every time we talk about this shit, every year, it's the same shit. Oh, we waiting for Great-O-Khan.
Doesn't look like there's a lot of pins that can be taken in this block. I see Callum Newman taking a ton of pins.
Totally.
He'll probably have 2 or 4
Great-O-Khan right there, too.
Great-O-Khan's going to have a ton of pins. I mean, there's not really a lot of guys to eat
from
pins
there.
here.
Yeah, it's going to be real. Sonata might be the next one on deck, and then from that point,
I could see this block being pretty locked up going into the end. I mean, the last night's going to have
A block feels like it's the block that it's going to be real tight all the way down the stretch
G1.
Because you just can't. I mean, I would, even if Jake Lee isn't signed with New Japan, I expect him to have a strong run. Gabe Kidd, same thing.
So now he's going to have 6 points.
1, 2, 3, 10 guys minus 1, 9. Ooh, that's 3 and 6. Gee.
Yeah.
Woo. I don't know. That might sound all right.
Oh, do we know what the time limit is? Because last year it was 20 minutes and there was a bunch of draws.
Let me see if I can find that.
There's always some match in the G1 that just sticks out. You're like, man, why is that one? It was just so different than everything else. Last year was Gabe Kidd versus Kaito Kiyomiya.
There will be a return to the 30-minute time limit for block matches instead of the previous 20-minute time limit. Each match of the night of seen matches from each night of the event seen matches from 2 block per night. So it sounds like you get to 30 minutes, you're going to get at least matches from both blocks, if I'm reading it right.
Oh, I don't like that.
Each night of the event seen matches from
I like it when it's 5
night.
matches. It's 5 matches. One night is block A, one night is block B. One night is block A, one night is block B.
I agree.
That's the way I like to do it.
Yeah, I was going to say, the way if it's reading, it feels like you're going to get A, B, A, B, A, B, which I guess is fine for touring purposes.
Possible Jake Lee takes a bunch of pins. I guess we could.
I would be really surprised.
We could be totally off with him though.
No, he's a former GHC heavyweight champion. That's Pro Wrestling Noah. So I mean, Pro Wrestling Noah and New Japan aren't in partnership, but they have done shows together with each other in the last couple years. I would be really surprised. Gabe Kidd looked really good against their champion, Kaito Kiyomiya, who was in the tournament last year. So, I mean, I'm not saying, I know I went on kind of a limb last year with Kaito Kiyomiya. It's the same limb with Jake Lee. I just think there's something to it.
What's block B?
Like I said, El Phantasmo, Hiroki Goto, Yota Tsuji, Yuya Uemura, Jeff Cobb, Hanare, David Finlay, Ren Narita, Konosuke Takeshita, and Bolton Oleg. Said it right the first time.
Jason, who wins this block?
This is a real toss-up block because you got guys like, obviously, Yota Tsuji, who's won the New Japan Cup, but is a rising star. David Finlay, somebody that it felt like was getting the push until Nick Namath came around, but now he's got that title back.
Do they fucking pull the trigger on Hanare?
Him winning the Never title, I think, is going to keep him somewhere in the middle, maybe 4th or 5th.
You don't see Hanare in the top 3.
I wouldn't mind it. I
kind of do.
The block is open. I mean, there's Hiroki Goto is always that wild card, especially in G1s.
I'm going with Hanare, Yota Tsuji, Konosuke Takeshita. And I think Yota Tsuji wins the block. And I think it's Yota Tsuji versus Zack Sabre Jr. in the finals. That is me putting a lot of faith in New Japan. Probably faith that they haven't earned.
Couldn't agree more. I'm going to go.
Isn't that the fucking right move, though?
I can't say I disagree. The only reason Yota Tsuji is going to be, to me, a quote-unquote long shot because he just won.
I mean, Takeshita might be a pipe dream.
No, I got him in my top 3. I'm going David Finlay 1, Takeshita 2. I'm going Jeff Cobb 3. There you go. I'll have David Finlay win the block but lose to Zack Sabre Jr. in the final.
I mean, last year they had Hikuleo in the fucking semis. It's like, why couldn't it be Hanare?
I don't have a good enough reason to say it couldn't be. I just think that right now
they're not going to do it. David Finlay's the right. I don't think it's going to be Jeff Cobb.
I'm not saying it. That's Jeff Cobb is somebody that I think that should be at least moving forward. And with this block, it's no disrespect to a lot of these guys, but I mean, Jeff Cobb should be winning. He's a champion.
You got a ton of guys taking pins in this one.
Ren Narita is the wild card because it's House of Torture. All kinds
of
no
way.
He's Gook.
He is eating pins.
We'll see. I'm not saying I'll give him.
No, I'm wrong.
More,
I'm wrong about everything on New Japan.
I'll go this far.
I take back everything I said.
I'll go this far. I'll say Ren Narita has more wins than Sonata.
Yeah, you might be right. I mean, Ren Narita gets a lot of big spots, and I'm completely like picking this with my heart and not my pocketbook. I'm just saying what I want to happen. I want it to be Yota Tsuji versus Zack Sabre Jr.
No, I hear.
That's probably not going to happen because I want it too much.
The only reason I don't think it's going to happen is, like I said, Yota Tsuji just won the New Japan Cup. I don't think there's been a time, and I wish Three Beer was here. Maybe
it's never happened.
Okay, could he get to the quarterfinals
in the same year?
Right. Could Yota Tsuji get to the quarterfinals? Yeah.
Wouldn't it be cool if Yota Tsuji was the first guy to do it, though? Wouldn't that be such a fucking stamp?
Then you have to cash this Joker in, for lack of a better term. You can't go down this road and then have him lose to Naito. You got to do it. At that point, love Naito, but you got to pull the trigger and then have Yota Tsuji win.
Bolton Oleg's going to take a bunch of pins, I would assume.
Yeah, but he's going to have some good matches.
Yeah, he is.
He and Callum Newman are going to have good matches and good performances, even though, like you said, I can't see them getting a point.
There are some pretty fucking exciting matchups here in Block B, and probably just because I think Takesha's so fucking good.
Him and Yota Tsuji
is one that I got circled for sure. I got him and Hinare circled. I got him and Uemura circled. Got him and Goto. It's probably going to be good.
Yeah, I was going to say
Goto can still fucking Goto when he wants to.
Jeff Cobb is the same way. I want to see him against Yota Tsuji again. I want to see him against El Phantasmo one more time. Jeff Cobb, to me, is one of those guys that's going to make things real interesting. It wasn't that far removed from the fact that Jeff Cobb was running through a block until he met Okada, and then he lost to Okada. We haven't seen that Jeff Cobb since.
Nope.
That's the guy I would love to see make a run, at least to the quarterfinals. I mean, there's no reason that he couldn't be a top 3 guy here.
So even though I think my picks are wrong, I'm going to stick with them.
I wouldn't expect anything less, man. Shit, you better stick it out.
So who do you have in the finals?
ZSJ, David Finlay. I'm just going chalk in that scenario. The top 2 seeds, I think, are good enough and booked strong enough to advance. But I still think this is Zack Sabre Jr.'s tournament, in my opinion, to lose. There's really no reason in the world to put anyone else that I can see. Jake Lee, maybe, because him and Naito have had beef in the past, but they're going to be in the same block, so you can get that beef put on the grill.
Out of the 3 Musketeers that they have, which is Shota Umino, they named him that.
Right.
Not me.
No.
Shota Umino, Ren Narita, and Yota Tsuji. Who has the most impressive tournament? Well, we can just take Ren Narita out of this. Between Shota Umino, between those 3, who's going to have the most points and who's going to have the best tournament?
Man, wow. Most points, I'm going to go with Yota Tsuji because obviously, I shouldn't say obviously, I don't have him in my top 3, but I think the lack of name talent, for lack of a better term, will help him win some of these matches and at least have this strong run. The most impressive, if you're going with names, Shota Umino versus Shingo, Shota versus Zack Sabre Jr., Shota versus Gabe Kidd, Shota versus Jake Lee, Shota versus Callum Newman. I mean, it's hard for me not to sit here and just highlight him and look at the block and sit here and think, ooh, that would be a good match. Ooh, that would be a good match. There's plenty of opportunity for Shota Umino to try to cement himself as the lead musketeer, so to speak. So, yeah, I'm going with Yota Tsuji most points, but Shota Umino, because he has more names on his side of the block, is the guy that could be the one that has the most impressive tournament.
I'll say this. I think one of those 2 guys ends up in either 1, 2, or 3 in their block. One of those guys is going to end up in the top 6.
That's fine.
It would just be stupid if they didn't do that.
No, I agree. At some point, the old guard is getting older and the young guard is ready to kind of march in. I want Jeff Cobb to be as a present day gatekeeper or whatever you want to call it. But, yeah, I would be very surprised if one of the three isn't in the quarterfinals. My guess, if you had me at gunpoint, I'm probably going Shota.
All right, that's going to do it. Anything else that you want to say about the G1? Starts this Saturday.
This Saturday. I'm excited.
You guys know how we do it. We cover every single match.
This is going to be fun. I've been waiting to really dive back into New Japan. I've been fairly disillusioned with New Japan, especially being in my favorite promotion. I expected a little more. This year has been wonky, to say the least. I have high hopes for G1.
They got a real chance to right the ship here.
Yes. And
cut these dudes loose.
Yeah, let them have some good matches. 30-minute matches not going to kill anybody per se, but it will be a test of attrition. It will be a war of attrition, and I can't wait. It's always been one of my favorite tournaments, if not my favorite tournament.
What would be your favorite tournament besides this? One of your favorite tournaments?
Honestly, if you did something, this is probably the one.
The NCAA?
Yeah. No, I do very poorly in that. No, G1 is my favorite. I would be lying if I said otherwise. It always culminates with the biggest match on their biggest show. I cried after Naito won the G1 and won the title. So, yeah.
Unprofessional bullshit.
Well, I mean, shit. I'm a Naito mark. What do you want for it? So, yeah, I guess if I'm shedding tears.
In the press box. Can't be
bullshit.
Crying in the press
I'll
box.
say, pass me that popcorn. I'm shedding tears over here. Just say, I can't help it. It is what it is.
I'll do it for a 3 count.
1, 2, 3.
All right, some odds and ends. NXT had Joe Hendry on commentary in the first match. The Rascals are back fighting Gallus. Looks like they're doing something with Joe Hendry and Gallus. Joe Hendry is over. They made they treated him like a super fucking big deal. So, what you think about Joe Hendry's appearance on NXT?
Shit, we didn't really talk about him last week when he made the appearance with Trick and helped win the tag match against Ethan Page and Shawn Spears. I laugh when people say, they don't watch NXT, TNA. TNA sucks, yada, yada, yada. Then why is Joe Hendry so the fuck over if nobody knows who the fuck he is? I'm sorry. TikTok goes so far. Social media goes so far. You can't tell me that some of these people aren't actually watching TNA and then coming back and saying it, to other people, TNA sucks or whatever. Joe Hendry was way over before he even hit the door. They put a picture of his face on TV and motherfuckers was losing their mind. They're singing this fucking song. That is over as fuck. That means that people know who he is and at least know where he's coming from. They're not just chanting TNA because they're being prompted to. Joe Hendry is over, okay? So let's just get that off the table. From this point, I'm curious to see how Joe Hendry is booked on NXT. Obviously, he's being booked strong. Is he going to be booked stronger than Trick? Trick is, it feels like he's, walking around in a little haze since he's lost the title.
I don't it's so strange how quickly shit becomes normalized. Like, it is fucking weird that NXT is sharing rosters with TNA. That's fucking weird,
and it's working.
Yeah, and we're just like. It's like, oh, yeah, well, now Joe Hendry's on NXT. It's like, no, it's still so fucking weird.
No quarter catch crews over on TNA. Rascals flipping on both shows. If you play this right.
Everybody just acts like it's no big deal. It's a big deal.
No, it's a huge deal. I don't care what anybody says. It's a huge deal.
Reaction, like when I was talking to people Saturday night, I was like, do you see what happened to Trump? And they're like, oh, yeah, it's fucking weird, right? It's like, no, man, his brains almost got blown out on fucking television.
Not to say, if he stood still.
The biggest, and everybody's like, oh, yeah, there was an assassination attempt. It's like, motherfucker,
no shit.
He raised his ear.
Okay, I was at work. I'm like, man, I heard the shit. I was like, man, y'all bullshit. Why y'all lying? Let me go on
Completely
Twitter.
normalized. We're like, oh, yeah.
I'm like, let me go on Twitter. Twitter's going to have the right answer, so I go on Twitter. I'm like, oh, shit, this nigga getting shot at. That's crazy. Everybody's like, what? what? It's like, no, that is not normal shit.
And even a bigger deal than that is TNA showing up on NXT every week.
say his name and he appears. And that's the part that the gimmick travels. He's over as fuck. I can't wait to see what's next for Joe Henry. I would assume Ethan Page and Joe Henry has to happen. Now, if it does Joe Henry go over is the biggest question. That to me is going to be curious.
I thought it was cool how they had Trick Williams FaceTiming with Ilya Dragunov. I like it that it makes like those guys are like buddies and Trick's calling them for advice.
Yeah, man, shit. I was about to say, how do I handle this shit?
Nice little touch. Did you like Ethan Page versus Dante Chen?
It was fine. I mean, it served its purpose. You know, Ethan got the win, but then Oral Mensa attacks him post-match. So, I mean, it just continues the story, attacks him, and then, quote-unquote, pins him after the fact. So, all you're doing now is just throwing another log on the Ethan Page, Oral Mensa fire at some point. They will have a match for the title.
Obafemi goes over Duke Hudson. Obafemi is the truth.
I forgot how bad Duke Hudson's first gimmick was when NXT 2.0 started, and you had the weird letters, like the rainbow letters or fluorescent letters or whatever, and he was the poker player. God damn, that was so fucking bad. And that's how far at least Duke Hudson has come. He's at least credible enough to go against Obafemi in a 15-minute match, and it was a banger-ass match.
Did he have APA playing poker with him one time? Or am I imagining that?
If
not, he fucking should have.
I'm not saying you ain't imagining it. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. If he did, I agree with you. If it didn't happen, it should have happened. Ultimately, it's credit to Duke Hudson. I wish he could be the North American champion, but just right now, it's Obafemi's world, and we all living in it.
Hey, do you know who Josh Briggs' dad is?
No.
Bull Buchanan.
I think you said that before, and now that you say that,
I knew it.
I think you have said that before.
I thought Von Wagner was Bull Buchanan's kid.
You ain't shit.
I'm serious. I really did.
That's fucking up. What do we think about? Are you even interested in this Josh Briggs?
Brooks Jensen?
Brooks Jensen's
angle? It's hard to say their names together because Briggs and Brooks and Jensen and Josh.
I totally forgot about Brooks Jensen until he just popped back up again.
Well, yeah, he's been gone for a while, but yeah, I think Josh Briggs is really good. He's a really good big man. I don't get the. Wait, did I say their names right?
No, I like Josh Briggs, the guy that.
Yeah, Brooks Jensen
is okay.
Yeah, he's okay.
Nothing that makes me want to jump up and down about.
Listen, if they're going to be telling a story with those two guys, this is the story they should be telling. It's fine with me that way.
Yeah, totally. Tatum Paxton beats Izzy Dame. It is what it is. It looks like Tatum might be going after the Women's North American Championship versus Kalani Jordan. That would, gimmicks aside, I think that would be a pretty decent match, honestly.
Be a nice tumbling routine.
That's fucked up. Great, Good Brothers Meechin beat Out the Mud in a mixed tag match. I don't get that, but it's good to see the Good Brothers actually earning their money. Pretty good NXT overall. Just I think we're going.
I watch Jada Parker do anything.
That bitch can. She can wrestle. I'm just gonna leave it at that. She can wrestle.
She can definitely wrestle.
Unprofessional bullshit.
She got a fat ass too. There you go. Now I earned it. I earned that one. There you go.
Did you get a chance to watch AJ Styles versus Marufuji?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't get a chance to watch it. What do you think of it?
No, it's what you would expect. It was a nice, just AJ and Marufuji to me kind of has similar styles where it's punch combos 3, 4, 5 at a time. That's why I like Marufuji a lot, and I wish I could go back. Well, not I wish I could. I need to go back and watch some of his older stuff where he was really in his prime. But no, this was a good match. It ultimately, I think this is not a bridge or forbidden door, whatever word you want to use it. But I think this is something that could be long-term if WWE wants to work with a Japanese promotion that's not named New Japan. Pro Wrestling Noah is a very nice landing spot for them if they wanted to do this. And I think this is the
Kurt Stallion versus Cody Rhodes.
Let's not go that far. I was about
Friend
to say,
of the show, Stallion Rogers. Kurt Stallion is
say that would be the dream because
in Pro Wrestling Noah.
We might actually be able to get some tickets for that nonsense. No, I'm joking.
The very man who has chopped me in my basement
twice. If you haven't had a chance to watch it, I believe it is on Wrestle Universe. So you just have to go to Wrestle Universe and find the show or whatever the case may be last Saturday. It's worth the watch to literally go out and watch the shit. It's really good.
I'm gonna go back and watch it. Hey everybody, we got some birthdays this week. Mandy Rose is 33. Karrion Kross is 39.
That's it?
That's it.
Jesus fucking Christ, that's ridiculous.
Jinder Mahal is 38.
Did you see the Jinder Mahal statement where Vince McMahon made him say the racist statements about Shinsuke back in the day?
No, I didn't.
Supposedly, Vince came to Jinder, I believe he was champion at the time, and told him that this is the promo I want you to cut. And we were doing the pod at the time. I remember this because I was just like, I remember not being a fan of the shit. And
Jinder said racist shit about Shinsuke?
Yeah, it was on the SmackDown, if I'm not mistaken. And just came out, just tore Shinsuke anew and just, it was bad.
And Jinder said that Vince made him do it?
Otherwise, it was take your ball and go home or say the promo.
Well, happy birthday, Jinder Mahal. 38.
Freedom, it tastes good.
Adam Rose is 45.
What the fuck is Adam? Yeah, what the fuck happened to him?
He got in trouble for something.
Was he Me Too? Or was it drugs?
No, I think it was spousal abuse. I think that he used to beat up his wife.
That'll do it.
Happy birthday. Giovanni Vinci is 34. The Fabulous Moolah would have been 101. David Von Erich would have been 66. R.I.P. to both of them. HBK is 59. Fandango is 43. He shares a birthday with Kenny King, who is also 43. Where's Kenny King?
He was in TNA the last time I checked.
Okay. See, I don't watch it. Akira Tozawa is 39. Torrie Wilson is 49. The aforementioned Zack Sabre Jr. is 37.
See,
and
there you go.
Angelo Dawkins is 34.
See? CSJ bringing the G1 home.
Have you watched the new Beverly Hills Cop? You said you haven't? It's good.
That's what they say?
That's my rec for the week. For Jinder Mahal,
check.
For Murray the Murray Murray,
check.
For Lucha Chris,
check.
For Patriot Pat,
check.
For Brett Jagger,
check.
For Vice,
check.
Maybe we'll see you next week.
Maybe we'll see you next week.
Zach,
check. We better see your ass next week.
For Jason Cornelius,
Konnichiwa, bitches.
I am Bill Vegas.
Check.
Black Lives Matter.
Check.
Support your local weed
Double
dealers.
check.
Support your local restaurants.
Check.
Free Palestine.
Triple check.
Call your parents.
Quadruple
and
check.
boo the heels.
Boo!